Hello, everyone, and welcome on this live stream session. It's all about helping you understanding how we get admitted inside ARTFX. And I'm Simon Vaness. I'm the director of ARTFX. I'm very glad to be here with Carol. Hello, Carol. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm the international coordinator on the ARTFX Montpellier campus.
And we have also with us Jasmine, a student at ARTFX Montpellier. Jasmine.
Hey everyone, I'm in second year studying 3D in Montpellier, so pleasure to see you.
So welcome everyone. As you understand, we are here to answer questions, basically. So we'll try to make it short on the introduction side. There's lots of information on the website, on a lot of sources. If you look throughout our website, there's tons of information about the curriculums, etc. I just wanted to take a few seconds just to give you the basics of the schools. I'm just making sure you have that in head. So if we can launch the little presentation. Oh, here it is. Wow, that's so fast. So our school was created 20 years ago. We are ARTFX. We're specialized in three trade, the visual effects, the CG animation, and video games industry. Basically, we're training and teaching our students to get to those industries. In terms of schools, if we can move to the next slide. Oh, we have 3 schools in France. Can we go to the next slide? Oh, it's okay. Here we go. 3 campus in France. One that is the historical one in Montpellier, a second one in Paris, and a third one in Lille. As we are in the international Q&A session, I must say that in Paris, the courses are in French, whereas we have international curriculum both in Montpellier and Lille. So you see here, it's the little British flag that is next to the courses that are in English in both sites. So don't hesitate to ask questions about those. We're here to tell you all about it and how to get in the school also. So I'm going to branch to Carol that will explain first and foremost how do we submit an application to get inside the school. Carol?
Yes, so the first thing to know is that the first admission session starts today. And so there are various steps you need to complete to start this admission process. The first step is to go on our website and click on the red rectangle on the top right corner of our website. And after that, you will be guided at every process. So it might look a little bit overwhelming, but you will really get some guidance all along the process. So the first step is to tell us which program you want to enter. Do you want to do 3D? Do you want to do animation, game? We need to know that, of course. And we also need to know which of our 2 campuses for international students you would like to enter. And you also need to choose, of course, the date of the session. Then after that, you receive an email and you need to submit your portfolio. So that's really important. You receive a lot of guidance on how to build your portfolio. You need to write a cover letter. It's a narrative cover letter in which we want to hear a lot about your artistic universe, your influences, your objectives, what drives you. And then you also take 3 short tests. There are multiple choice questions on English. We want to evaluate your level of English. A logic test and a general knowledge test. Those take approximately 1 hour. They're not eliminatory. None of the tests are eliminatory. They just help us get to know you better. After that, you have a whole weekend to complete a creative test. You receive a prompt on Friday night, on Friday at 6 p.m. And then you have to submit it on Sunday by 8 p.m., I believe. This creative test is traditional, not digital. And we want you to show us how you can draw. It can be pencil, painting, but it has to be traditional. After that, the admission jury examines what you submitted and decides whether you match our expectations to be an ARTFX student. If you do, you receive an interview invitation. So that's the next step, very important step of the admission process, when you get to meet one of our faculty members who ask you a lot of questions on your portfolio, on your visions, on your objectives, and gives recommendations to the rest of the jury for your admission. If you are deemed eligible based on your interview, your portfolio, your letter, and all the documents you submitted, you then receive the decision by December 23rd. And you'll also get to know whether your preferred campus was indeed assigned to you or not. Of course, the earlier you apply, the better, because as the year goes by, we fill more and more spots, and the campus you preferred might not have any spots left. So the early, we highly encourage you to apply early so you can get your preferred program and campus.
Okay,
I don't add anything to that, Simon?
No, just because it seems like a long process, but knowing it, it's pretty short. In fact, basically, you have your portfolio ready. That's the first step. You publish that to your candidate. Then you get 3 little tests. Seeing all of that, we decide if we see you in interview. We reconvene another group meeting where we discuss your application and we give you the answer. Once you have this answer, if it's a yes, then you have a few weeks to decide if you finally sign in. If you have other school that you're watching for, you can also wait a bit more. But we are conserving. We are keeping a seat for you at least those 2 weeks. Then if you wait a bit longer, sometimes it happens, you can just keep us updated and tell us now I'm ready to finalize my application after being admitted. Okay, just trying to recap that quickly. Mm-hmm. I think we already have a few questions. Maybe we can start, but before that, I'd like to hear Jasmine about what was your experience of this process of application.
I'd say from memory, it was pretty simple. I did the logic test and the general knowledge test online, then the creative test with the prompts, and followed by the interview.
Mm-hmm. All that easy. Okay. And how did you prepare your portfolio? How long did it take you? And tell us what you showed in your portfolio at that point.
I showed my best quality works, and I showed some variety. I just wanted to show the things that really represented my artistic personality and what I thought was strongest and could really help me get admitted.
That's definitely the way to approach it in all cases. If you're trying to figure out what to put in your portfolio, try to bring diversity. Diversity is very important. Select your work. Tell us a little story. Imagine that on our end, we'll be looking at your portfolio to try to understand the skill sets you already have developed, your creative universe, and the motivation you're putting in it. So that's why, if you put only 3 productions, that's not enough. If you're putting 200, that's because you've just poured everything without looking at it. That's not good enough, in the other way, right? So choose carefully. Try to tell a little story of your portfolio by showing what you are interested in, what kind of areas of creativity you already addressed in terms of putting some energy, some work in it. That's what we would give as advice to make it successful.
There's a question for Masha. She asks how many students are in our international class. So in Montpellier, in each new class, we have about 18 new international students, but total on the Montpellier campus, we have 83 international students. And I believe over the 2 campuses, we have something like 150, 40, something like that. Yes. I also wanted to mention that as soon as you receive your acceptance letter, and as soon as you have actually signed your contract, we send you the documents for you to start your visa application, and that's an important step. And you also receive an international guide to help you through the entire process of finding accommodation, health insurance, everything you need to know, as well as receiving a whole week of international orientation upon your arrival.
We have a first question on screen, so let's try to address this one. Are drawing skills required to get admitted? I would say yes and no, depending on the curriculum you're selecting. Like if you want to go into game design, for instance, you don't need to draw at all. If you want to go in programming, you don't need to draw. For all the artistic curriculum, it's a recommendation to have at least develop basic drawing skills. When I say basic is, if you are aiming towards CG and VFX, we'll look less closely at your drawing level and also at the creative, if you have other things to show, like photographic material, video, CG work, like 3D work you've already done, that also interests us. We have different kinds of profiles that we admit in the school, some that are very on the drawing side, and some that have developed also some artistic sensibilities through other mediums. So it's not, but in all cases, you need to have a portfolio that show that you're invested creatively, that you have already developed a universe, and that you've worked on those topics throughout the past years. I hope he answers. Okay, this one's for me, right? Thank you, Alan, for this very good question. Our student coach on determining which link in the value chain is and will be least affected by competitive AI and machine learning tools. Can the animation industry in France meet this need? So that's a question about like there's new tool sets now that happens to develop with generative AI. It needs to be seen as an opportunity more than a risk, even if it changed the industry. And it's true, it's the industry is currently changing in the industry for animation, for VFX. But there have been quite a few changes in those industries, like those industries, CG animation and VFX, those industries exist only since 30 years, no more than that. So we're not at our first revolution, clearly, and the school has already evolved quite a few times during those last 20 years, and I can tell you that AI is already something that we address, we start to address, and we'll continue to push, because we're trying to be as close as possible to what is really happening in the studios, in the creative industries. So it's not a matter of like, will it stop? Because that's nonsense. It won't stop the industry, the studios from working, from creating. It will bring new ways of creating. So it will create new jobs, and for sure, you'll need to be trained to those new pipeline of production, etc. So I won't go too deep into that, but shouldn't be afraid of the AI. It's another tool set that for sure, like make some steps of creating a picture faster. It doesn't change the idea that there needs to be a man or a woman there behind the screen to make it happen and to choose the art direction in which the picture is going. Hope I answered. I won't go into more details on that subject though, because I think we have other questions too.
There was another question from Masha, who asked if there were French students in the international class. Yes, there are some, not many, but we only add those students who are volunteer, who actually want to be in the international class. And there was a question.
Carole, it may be interesting to say that the first few years, the international class is separate. You have a separate class for international, but in year 4 and 5, the international are mixed with the rest of the students. So like everybody now needs to communicate in English at that point. So all the French are talking English. So it's very important in the school that all the international are very linked with the French one. Maybe Jasmine, you can tell us a bit about your experience about that, but like how the interaction with the French students, etc.
Definitely, it's very interesting. It helps to learn French. It's nice to speak with them and exchange cultures. And there's very much a mix between international and French. It's not this isolated field. It's welcoming.
Okay, cool.
Jasmine, you speak French, and it's been very helpful. In fact, we really encourage students, even if you are not fluent, and it's absolutely not a requirement to speak French to enter our school, but we highly encourage students to take maybe a month of French in the summer. It's really help you. However, it's absolutely not a requirement. However, the English part is a requirement. We do need you to speak English quite fluently.
This is something we're going to test during the interviews, like your ability to speak in English, because you need to have a certain level of English to be able to just follow the classes for sure. Okay, other question. What is expected of those wanting to pursue 2D animation? I know how to somewhat draw, and I'm determined to become an animator. Okay, so first and foremost, like our 2D animation curriculum. So the first year is common for everyone, but starting in second year, it's a dedicated curriculum for 2D animation, and it's taught in French. So I need to mention that first and foremost, because so we have some international students into the animation, but they all have developed French skills before, because that's one of the curriculum that is in French. Then to answer your question about what is needed to work in 2D animation, for sure, like the skill sets required to get into the industry and get a job is high. And we are very cautious about the people we let inside the 2D animation curriculum. We require that starting at application in our school, we will ask the applicants that want to go into the animation, to have a good level in drawing. What's needed to pursue a curriculum in animation 2D in 2D is not only being able to draw, it's also being able to draw fast, which is another problem. And drawing is really much a muscle, and so you need to train it. And we know that we need applicants that already have developed a lot of skill sets in terms of like ability to draw fast before joining the school. So I'm just saying it's harder in the skill set in drawing, because for the rest of the curriculums, we do allow people that have developed a skill set in drawing during the classes given at ARTFX, but we are not that harsh, let's say, on this level to pursue the curriculum. I hope it's clear.
Yeah, if not really excellent at drawing, it won't be eliminatory for the other sections, of course.
Yeah. Another question? Are any of the programming course in Montpellier taught in English? Yes, that's we put that in gaming, but yes, the programming course in Montpellier are taught in English. It's possible to join them being an international. Yeah.
There were previous questions, several of them regarding undergrad versus graduate studies at ARTFX. We actually don't have such a distinction. We do not offer a bachelor degree at our school. So when you enter, you actually enter for the full master's equivalent.
And just to be clear, also, we don't have any quotas in terms of going through the years. Some schools have like say 100 first year and then 50 second year. We choose our student carefully, which means we try when you enter the school to make you successful, to really give you the means to success. Some fail, that's true, but because not enough energy put in, etc. But we are dedicating really our school to make our students successful, and that's really important to hear, and it differs from other schools for sure. How many pieces does the portfolio need? What format? Do you want to go in, Carol?
Sure. So the portfolio, as you said earlier, Simon, is really a way to tell your story. So the way you organize it lets us guess already who you are. And in many cases, less is more, right? So don't try to really impress us with a great number of pieces. Instead, carefully select what you put in there. And of course, you should focus on the field of studies you're most interested in, right? We should feel a connection between the field you want to enter and your work already, even though you obviously are not specialized. So about 20 pieces, right, Simon? Is that what's expected?
Around 20 is good, but like showing quality and diversity is the two. Like when you look at your portfolio, ask yourself, is it quality, is it diversity? And as if you want a real tip, like always show something very good at the beginning, something very good at the end. That's what we do also for the demo reel. Do that. Other questions, maybe? Is it possible to directly apply for Master of ARTFX, I would guess, 2D film animation without foundation first? Yes, it's possible. That's what we call parallel admissions. So those applications are a bit later in the year. They start in February. Because we are waiting, our students are priority for subscribing to the next year. So we wait for the first semester to be passed. So it's possible. You'll need to demonstrate the quality. Usually during the quality to enter in second year. We'll check that usually when we do parallel admissions. We check thoroughly, or even more thoroughly, your portfolio, just to make sure the skill set you have developed is compatible with what was taught in the school. That's really important for us, just so that you can like jump on the train and continue the studies at ARTFX. The campus in Paris for the moment is only delivered in French. Yes, that's yes for the moment. Maybe it will change, but not this year, not in 2 years. So yes, for the moment, it's only in French. Carole?
Yes, absolutely. So as soon as you sign your contract, you receive access to a lot of tools, including access to an international Discord. And it's a great way to start getting to meet the international community of ARTFX before you even get here, and to exchange tips, really fresh tips at a level of detail that even the coordinators cannot provide, right? Sub-neighborhoods where to live or not live, tricks for daily life. So it's really an excellent tool, and we do provide the access to that as soon as you sign your contract.
Another question. What is the content of the programming class? So to answer that, first, look at the website. If you're aiming for programming for game, you'll see that it's low-level programming classes, and we are very proud of being a school that teach low-level programming. If you're talking about TD, Technical Director Program for Cinema, it's a bit different. It's more linked with the tool used in the studios. So go on the website, and if you have any question, I'll ask the person doing the chat just to give the email of Gaëtan, the head of curriculum of the programming, that may answer any additional question you may have. Aurore, can you do that for us and put the email of Gaëtan in private message? Okay, Olga. Because I have a website. Is it valid? Okay. Carole, do you want to go for this one?
Sure. I'd say why not? I don't know what you think, Simon, but as long as it reflects what we would like to see as a school from a candidate, why not? If it reflects your artistic universe, if it's varied, if it's well put together, by all means, why not? If there's no problem of access, no access codes that's hard to use, any additional click is not always very welcome. But if it's easy to access, and if it's a great website, it really gives an overview of the full range of your skills. By all means, I think it's great.
And it needs to be a portfolio website, basically. So it needs to look like a portfolio, meaning that you choose your pieces, you put them in a specific order, etc. Don't send us just like link to random stuff you're doing, because that shows a lack of motivation in other sense. Like if you haven't prepared to show us what your skill set, what creative universe you have, like we'll feel it as that you are not motivated to get in, basically.
It should adjust to us, right? Yeah.
Okay, so that was already answered. So the answer is yes. It combines. It's one you enter for the full 5 years. Oh, if we can go to the next question.
You can totally enter. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, normally, your name is some idiot. So the question is valid, though. So you were accepted last year, so you can directly take contact with admission. You should definitely do that. Like if you were admitted last year, normally you don't have to undergo the entire admission process again, for sure. If my English skills are not enough to be accepted in an international class and interview. Yes, for sure. If you speak French and not English, then you'll get in a French class. That's possible. Then we'll test your French level just to make sure you can follow the courses at ARTFX.
However, we'll make sure you improve your English, because English will be needed in some classes you will take.
Very good point, Carole. For the VFX course, is there a better campus to go through? No, really, like the curriculums are built on the same. Like there's some differences between the different campus, but they are very minor. It's more about like the teachers are a bit not the same on each campus, but basically the curriculum was built for all three campuses and look alike for that reason. There's no. Usually students are choosing either because of the flight distance to their country, or there's sunny Montpellier, and there's also like the campus in Lille is just crazy incredible. So there's lots of things to ponderate, but at the end, like I would guess the three, I mean, we're very proud of having 3 good schools about this topic, about VFX, no problem.
Maybe, Jasmine, you can tell us a few words about the Montpellier environment. What do you think about it? Jasmine comes from Australia. It took her 23 hours to fly here, so that tells you about her motivation.
Yeah, well, 2 flights to get here, one of them being 13 hours from Singapore to Paris. Montpellier, it's a very beautiful city. It's very internationally mixed because there are a lot of universities here, and the weather is very good. It's a good area to study, and at ARTFX, it's a great atmosphere.
And so is the Lille campus.
Yeah, I mean, campus is different, but the students are happy there too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really the people that make it. There are good people here. They work hard. There's passion, and it's a great environment to learn.
For students living in a student residence, do they need their own PC? Okay, about the hardware needed. So everything is set in the school for you to work. You have access to PCs, etc. So you don't need to buy a PC. Even though saying that some students like to have their own PC at home. So, but it's more like it's not a requirement. I mean, some students are getting PCs to work. What we do require as a school is just that you can answer emails, read things when you're out of school. So having something to do that, but otherwise, like the school close late during the day, and you have time to access computers even after the classes. So there shouldn't be a need to have a computer at home, and we do all our possible. And just so that you know, there's not only computers, but also like graphic tablets that are accessible. And yes, the school is not closing at 5 at all. It's closed way later than that, at 9 p.m. In Free Campus now. Yes, Free Campus, it's 9 p.m. Yeah.
I seem to see a lot of students with iPads, but most don't seem to purchase a computer. Yeah.
Some are, but because they want to do it at home, etc. But it's not a requirement in all cases, so you don't need to prepare for that, at least. Is the creative test eliminatory? Yeah. Yes, it is. In terms of like, that doesn't mean yes, it is, because we are taking it into account. So if it's not creative at all, for instance, which have happened in the past, sometimes we have tests that weren't creative at all. It could be eliminatory because we're looking during that test what you can do actually, but don't be afraid by the drawing level. The drawing level is not the A to Z to our way of selecting the students. Like if you have developed some skill sets in CG, if you've photographed for the last 5 years and doing incredible photographs, all of that will be taken into account also as creative material that you're bringing in. And for sure, you'll be less skilled when entering the school for the first drawing classes you'll receive. But that's okay, because we want diversity also in the creative origin of our students. We already answered that. So it's roughly, let's say 20, around 20. Don't put too much, don't put too less. Diversity and quality is what we are looking for. Diversity meaning like different subjects, different ways of drawing, different ways of coloring, etc., etc. What the things you want to see in the students? We want motivations. This trade is just incredible. It's a work of art to work in the industry, and we want motivation. This is the foremost. We want motivation, creativity, and willingness to learn, because we're a school, so we are here for that. That's the three things, but first and foremost, motivation, for sure.
There's a word we use a lot in our school. It's professionalism, and that includes, reliability, commitment, motivation. So it's really, really important for us to train students to become professional from the start.
Can you put back the question. Hi, my son wants to get in ARTFX, but the recent strikes, we are worried. What's the short, long-term future in the industry? What about the actual student? Are they accompanied? Thank you. Okay, so there is a strike that hurted the industry this year that stopped most of the production. That's true. It's not the first time in the recent history. It happened also in 2007 that the industry was put to an halt for 8 months, basically. This has happened, may happen again. It's not something that closed, something that where the robots are then coming and taking all the jobs. Like the industry usually restarts. So it's true that right now we are in the recovery period, meaning the studios are starting up to ramp up and crewing up. So they are recruiting again because they've stopped when the strikes of the author. So I need to understand that maybe to explain that a bit better. So, okay, the strike in the US has made all the writers to stop writing, meaning there was nothing to shoot, so nothing to do VFX on or to animate. So the industry got to an halt because of that, and at some point there was nothing more to produce because nothing was written, so it stopped. And it's been like 5 months like this, and now the strike is over on the script writing side. It's still going on the actor side, but it's close to an end too. And so the industry is starting to ramp up, meaning restarting. It's not something that happens and stop the industry. It's just something that happened that have, let's say, calmed down the work. And if asking about what happened to, it's not about our students, because our students that are at school, but about our alumni that are working. We are very close to our 1,000 alumni that are working across the globe in many studios, and for sure, like some of them were needed to put some time off during a couple of months. We are hearing right now that the industry is starting to regain its basically its space, but it takes months, and it's not the first time, so it's not something we are totally afraid about. It's just something that happens. So it was long, but it was a complex question.
Sorry. Olga asked if the interview will be conducted in English. Yes, it will, if you're an international student. However, don't let that stress you if you're not a native speaker. It's totally fine to not speak perfectly. The only thing we ask you is to be efficient, fluent enough to just function within the school, right? So yes, the interview is in English.
I'm bilingual. I'm studying the back in France. Which course should I apply to? Does it matter? Carol, do you want to go in?
Sure. It doesn't, well, you get the best of both worlds because you can actually choose any program, right? If you are fully fluent in French, you can take even the 2D program, which is not the case for non-Francophone students. And you can even attend Paris, I believe, right?
Yep.
So you can pick just any program you want.
Another question, maybe? How many intakes are there for international students? What are the start and dates for? Okay. Do you understand that, Carol, too?
Sure. So the start date is today, right now. You can start applying. And there are 2 other sessions in January, I believe. There are sessions all around the year, but again, we highly encourage you to apply as early as possible if you want more chances to get your preferred campus and program.
Are the accommodation provided by school? The answer is no, but we do have in Lille and Montpellier student residencies, campus, basically, just next to the school. It's 250 flats in Montpellier and 500 in Lille. So they are just next to the school, which makes it easy to live a student life and go back and forth from the school. So we are not providing them, but we have solutions that are just next to the school, meaning you can live your student life right a few meters from the school.
Olga, you do not need an English certificate. We assess that with the multiple choice test and during the interview.
I don't know if we're at the end of questions already. Do we?
I don't know if you saw them. Oh.
That we already understood. Answered twice. So I guess we're good.
Do we need any kind
What are options for financial help that international students can take advantage of? We have not that many. Sometimes there is some local support, some local funds in your own country that help students. We already have that from Sweden, if I can understand. Carol, tell me, but like I know that some students were supported by states from their origin country. Otherwise, there is nothing specific, except we have a foundation at the school, which is limited in terms of how many people get funded partially or totally by the foundation. Just to give an example, it happened for Ukrainian students a couple of the year before, to help them follow the courses in the class. But basically, you need to look inside first your home country, seeing if there is some help to study abroad. Okay. Carol, anything to add on that, or?
No, thank you. I'm just reading another question from Olga, who asked if courses taught in English are 100% English. So Olga has a lot of questions about English. Of course, our teachers are French most of the time and English speakers. So if there's something you don't understand in English, you can always ask in French. But we really need students to have a functional level of English because, for example, in your 5th year, chances are you'll be working with international students. And so you really need to be able to exchange information in English. Also, the interviews, we have a job dating at the end of your 5th year. They are led in English, most of them. And the jobs are done in English most of the time. So it's really important that you have a functional, if not perfect, level of English. But again, don't let that deter you, because language is something you can work on and improve easily with work, of course.
Is student residence usually full? As foreign student, is there any chance to book a room? It is possible. It's true that they get filled pretty early in the process. So try to candidate as soon as possible. I'm mostly in Montpellier. I think in Lille, it's as there is more room, it's a bit easier. But if you're early, it will go fine, basically. But you need to jump on that. Not wait for the summertime, for instance, to try to book it. Do you have an open day? Yes, that's a good question. Do you have any stage, so internships? Do you have an open day? Yes. Carol, can you remind me? It's
December 16, I believe.
Exactly. I think it's that, yeah. It's written on the website, but we have an open day on December 16 where the students will be there, teachers will be there. It's so that's for Montpellier, the 16th, and then we have one in January for Lille and February for Paris. Just look at the dates that are written on the website. So we have an open day for each of the campus. And then on the other question, do you have any, I don't know if it's stage in the meaning of like summer camps or internships. So I'm going to answer both. Do we offer summer camps? Yes, there is some summer camps for during summertime. Same, there are usually, you'll get information in February about them, like about the dates, etc. And then do we offer internships during the studies? Yes, also. Students are required to do a 6-week internships in 4th year or 5th year, or the 5th year. What is the best course for students interested in sound mixing? This is not an area we're covering. The school is not proposing anything related to audio. We're doing pictures, animation, visual effects, cinema. It's already good. Up to you, Carol.
Yes, so we do offer a lot of help for accommodation. That's part of the international guide you receive after you sign your contract. We have a ton of links to provide and help you with that. The Discord online forum also can help you with that. Regarding part-time jobs, we do not recommend students to work during their studies because our studies are pretty intense. However, if you need to, the maximum you're allowed as an international student is 60% of full-time. But again, we do not recommend that. In fact, when you apply for the visa, there's something you need to know. The first reason for declining your visa is lack of funding. The French government really wants to make sure that students are not going to get into financial trouble once they're in France, because it's really difficult when you're in financial trouble away from your country, from your family. So they want to anticipate any potential issues, and you need to provide proof of funds. I think it's not extreme. I think they only require something like 600 euros monthly to approve your visa. But if you cannot prove that, they will decline your visa. So yes, you can find part-time job, but we do not recommend it.
Hello, what types of high school baccalaureate? It's for you, Carol, maybe? This one also?
I went too fast. I did not have the time to read it. Any high school degree or high school degree equivalent. You do not need to take a French test.
Does this school support stop motion animation, is asking Richard. Okay, we don't have any dedicated curriculum to stop motion animation. In first year, we have a workshop on stop motion. That's not enough to work in stop motion animation. So we have nothing dedicated to that industry. Even though last year we have one student that ended up working at Hartmann, but that's a solo case. So I cannot say that our curriculum is directed towards stop motion, even if stop motion is sharing a lot of skill sets with what we teach at the school. We have nothing like directed towards that. We have received your answer. I need to have a first session. So you'll receive the answer 2 weeks after completing the interview, basically.
Exactly, so, December 23rd.
December 23rd, even more precise. Just before Christmas. So then you're all to go for vacation, finishing your year of school, and then up joining ARTFX. Is the school year running from 1st of September to the 30th of June? Roughly, yes. Sometimes it's shift a little bit, but roughly it's around those dates. It's usually more mid-September to 30th of June, around that. Are there any example portfolios that I could look at? I think we have a video on the website of advice on how to build your portfolio. I would advise you to look for that. And if you don't find it, get back to us so that we give you the link for that.
How many hours per week are required for attendance? You get pretty much a full schedule, and schedules vary weekly because we have a lot of workshops led by professionals, and so we have to adjust to their professional schedules as those people teach as well as work in studios, which is great because you get first-hand experience from leaders in the industry. However, those schedules change weekly, so your schedule is pretty full. Pretty packed weekly. Jasmine, you are nodding. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, sure thing. Yes, the schedule varies week to week, so there's no really amount of hours you can gauge for attendance because it's going to change. And as Carol said, with the workshops and what specialization sometimes you choose in the second year or other next year, sorry, it's going to change, and that's what it is. Yeah.
Okay, I think we're running out of time. We're already past even our deadline, and I think we go through all the questions. So I would just like to thank you all for listening to us, and we hope if you have any additional question, you have one email, which is apply@artfx.fr. That is going to be put in the chat box again. But don't hesitate to ask questions and start preparing your portfolios and subscribing to apply for the next application period. I hope we've been as clear as possible, and we are looking forward to see all of you inside the school next year. And good luck for the tests. And thank you, Carol and Jasmine, for being there.
Thank you. Good luck, everyone.